This is Ralph Sass, and this is the Chapter 10 quiz, and I'm going to take some time to go over the numbers here, and there's quite a few, so it may very well take 2 videos today. But the first one is question number 1 for Bonnet Corporation, and we're looking for an efficiency variance, so I'm looking for the right side. I'm looking for the right side of those 3 items there. So I need to find the standard hours and the standard rate. And the standard hours, I produced 1,900 units, and each of those units took 0.2 of an hour. So I've got the 1,900 times 0.2, which is 380. So it's going to take me a total of 380 hours, and the standard rate is $21 an hour. So I've got 380 times 21, which is 7,980. And so that's my far right column, and then I need to know my actual hours. Well, the actual hours that I worked was 410 hours, so I've got 410 hours, and once again my rate is still $21, so my rate is 21, so I've got 410 times 21, and this is my actual hours and my standard rate, and that is 8,610. So the difference there, okay, is $630, and it is unfavorable because I should have spent $7,980, and I actually spent $8,610. So that is question number 1. The next question is question number 2, and for question number 2, we're looking for a rate variance. So since we're looking for a rate variance, we're looking for the left-hand side in this case. So I want to know the actual quantity and the actual price, and I want to know the actual quantity and the standard price. Okay, so standard price was $10. Okay, I need to know the actual hours that were worked in this case. Okay, actual rate was $9.50, so the actual price is $9.50. Okay, so I need to find out, in this case, what the labor rate variance is. But notice they didn't tell me the actual quantity hours worked, so I kind of got to back into that here. Okay, and in order to back into that, I'm going to have to use that standard quantity and standard price. Okay, I know the standard price, the standard hours was 8,000, and I know the standard price was $10, so that's 80 grand. I know that the efficiency variance was 4,800 favorable, so I know that this column here is 80 grand minus 4,800, which is 75,200. Well, now since I know that the rate is $10 an hour, I can go ahead and figure out the actual hours worked, and the actual hours worked will be 75,200 divided by 10, or 7,520 hours. Okay, so now I can take the 7,520 hours, and I know that's 75,200, but I can also take that over here and take 7,520 times that $9.50 an hour, and I'll get 71,440. And so now the difference between 71,440 and 75,200 is 3,760, and I should have spent 75.2. I actually spent 71.4, so that is a favorable variance of $3,760. Moving on to question number 3. For question number 3, once again, I'm looking for a quantity variance. So I'm looking for the 2 right-hand columns, so I need to know the standard quantity and the standard price. And I need to know the actual quantity and the standard price. Okay, so the standard price is $2. Okay, so that's easy enough. The standard quantity is 2.2 units per pound, okay, and we produced 3,000 units, so we need to take 3,000 times the 2.2 times the $2 rate, and for that we'll get 13,200. And I need to know the actual quantity, the actual number of hours that were worked, or the actual number of, pounds that were used. And in this case, they tell us that 6,270 pounds were used, so I can just take 6,270. And when I multiply that, I will get 12,540. So I've got 12,540 and 13.2, which is a $660 variance. I should have spent 13.2, actually spent 12.4, so that's $660 is favorable. So I have a $660 favorable variance. On to question number 4. This is question number 4. And let's do it this way. Question number 4. Once again, I'm looking for a price variance. So I'm going to be on the left hand side. I'm going to look actual quantity, actual price. Okay. And I'm also going to be looking actual quantity, standard price. So, and I'm looking for a materials price variance. Looking for a materials price variance. So the actual quantity that was used, okay, was 31,800 units. Okay. So that's the 31,800. Okay. And the standard rate is, and I've got direct materials, $8 per gram. So I use 31,800 grams, and it's 800 grams. And the standard rate is $8. And the actual quantity I used was 31,800. Now I need to find out the actual price. And the actual price of raw materials purchased was $8.10 per gram. So there's my $8.10 per gram. So now I'm going to multiply the 31.8 times 810 and the 31,800 times 8, and so it's going to be a difference of 10 cents. And it's going to be the difference is going to be 3,180. Okay, quick way to get it is to take 31,800 times a dime. Okay, and that'll give me that 3180. So my variance is 3180. I spent more. My actual price is greater, so I spent more, so it's going to be unfavorable. So the correct answer is 3180, unfavorable. My next question is question number 5. Okay, and for question number 5, I'm looking for a quantity variance. Okay, so I'm going to look for my standard quantity and standard rate. And I'm also going to be looking at my actual quantity and my standard rate. Okay, so, and I'm looking for a material quantity variance. So actual production was 3,400. So I produced 3,400 units. The quantity I am to use is 9.8 liters per unit. So I got to multiply it times 9.8. Then I have to multiply it times the standard price. And the standard price is $5 a liter, so I multiply that times $5 a liter. And when I do that, I get 166,600. 166,600. Now the actual quantity that I used, the company used 33,240, so they told us they used 33,240. I'm going to still multiply it times the standard price of $5, okay, and I will get 166,200. Remember, this was 166,600, so the difference there is 400. Okay, so I have a $400 variance, and I spent less than so it is favorable. So I have a $400 favorable variance. On to question number 6. This is question number 6. And I am looking for an efficiency variance. And an efficiency variance is a quantity variance. And since I'm looking for a quantity variance, I'm going to be on the right-hand side, and I'm going to go standard quantity, standard price, okay, and I'm going to do actual quantity, standard price. So that's my two items. Now let's go ahead and figure out the standard quantity, and I'm looking for an overhead. So it's a half an hour, and the standard rate is $5. So my price is $5. They produced 4,700 units, so I'm going to take the 4,700, multiply it times 0.5, because each one should take a half an hour, and then multiply it times 5. That will give me 11,750. For my actual quantity that I used, my actual quantity, how many hours did I actually work? They used 2210, so they used 2,210 hours. Each one of those hours was at $5 for a total of $11,050. The difference is obviously $700, and it is favorable because the $11,750 is the standard. Actually, I only spent $11,050, so it is a $700 favorable variance. I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and we'll pick it up with question 7 on the next video.